child with cyclopia. Many people think that cyclops are a Greek myth, but in fact cyclopia exists in real life, in children whose two eyes fuse into one. Trump is a chump and anti-Trump rally by the Nation of Islam in front of Trump Towers in 1988. In 1988, LL Cool J was the first rapper to perform in West Africa. Mariah Carey, 1990. Hundreds of New Guinean stretcher and supply carriers stand at attention as Australian Major General George Allen Vasey thanks them in a medal ceremony. 1942. Women being trained for police service, January 15, 1942. The Bertillon system that catalogued criminals by their physical measurements. Class on the Bertillon system in France in 1911. Fidel Castro at age 8, 1934. At the Memorial Day parade, Civil War veteran George W. Collier, 97, shows Olwyn Shah, 9, a Boy Scout cub, how he aimed his rifle during the war. 1939. The young man has hypothyroidism. A wreath made from car parts on Frunze's grave. Commanders P-38T with a wooden dummy cannon captured in Stalingrad, 1942. African Americans, 1911, Seattle. This is the Parade of All Nations, in which Italians, Chinese, Indians and others were also represented. A restaurant owner updates the specials of the day during the blackout. New York City, 1977. Buffalo Hide Yard in Dodge City, Kansas in 1878. It shows 40,000 buffalo hides. Dwight Gooden is being carried off the field after pitching a no-hitter during his 1996 comeback season. The Burgess seaplane, which was a variant of the Dundee-8, a tailless swept-wing biplane, was in New York and being used by the New York Naval Militia around 1918. Stan Lee with Hulk and Thor from the 1988 Hulk live-action TV show. Mountain guides carry a noble lady who wished to conquer Vesuvius in 1910. In 1988, a Boeing 737 flying over Kahului suddenly suffered a skin rupture, which led to partial destruction of the fuselage. Quentin Tarantino in his youth. The Girls of the 80s. On August 28, 1998, a submarine in the Red Sea launched 13 cruise missiles into the Al-Shifa pharmaceutical plant in Khartoum, Sudan. As a result, thousands died of treatable diseases. An in-car telephone from around 1950. Bruce Lee behind the scenes of Enter the Dragon 1973. A ton-up girl fixing her Triumph 1950s. German medical dog team of a military hospital, Latvia, autumn 1944. King George I of Greece visiting Tsar Ferdinand I of Bulgaria at the headquarters of the Bulgarian army, city of Thessaloniki, during the First Balkan War, 1912 to the end. Woody Harrelson was especially cool back in the 1990s. Irish McCall posing for pin-up artist Alberto Vargas for a sketch circa 1950s, better known for her star role in Sheena, Jungle Princess. During a London County Council election campaign run, Mickey Mouse is showing on a small screen in a city street, 1931. Ice Cream in January 1958. Rick Astley meeting Princess Diana in 1988. A soldier fires from a trench without being exposed to return fire, 1914. The cast of National Lampoon's On Vacation, 1983. It's a combined car, boat and airplane. That was in 1928. The moment of the crash of Bef 109-4344. A fork in the Yonkers Pressure Tunnel, 1913. There's a bear cub on the ice. This happened in the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics in 1925. Personal helicopter, 1960s. Installation of a new torch on the Statue of Liberty, 25th of November 1985. One of the last photos ever taken of AIDS victim David Kirby, Ohio, November 1990. Hunter S. Thompson shaves Johnny Depp's hair for Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, 1998. Barbara Voigt, John Voight, Angelina Jolie and James Haven at the 1986 Oscars. Couple of friends roller skating in the 1930s. Two chefs go shopping on skis, St. Moritz, Switzerland, 1930. Kylie Minogue photographed in 91. Autochrome shot of Greek soldiers in their uniforms, 24th of May 1913. Ryan Gosling yearbook photo. Atomic gardening was a fad from the 1950s to the mid-1960s. This technique of mutation breeding involves exposing plants to radiation to induce genetic changes, some of which are beneficial. Walt Disney piloting the Disneyland Steamboat on the opening day of Disneyland, July 17, 1955. Fidel Castro at La Salle College in 1936. An Israeli woman with an Uzi machine gun on guard, 1956. Queen Mary's doll's house being packed for shipment to Windsor, 1923. Chicago police guard the Liberty Bell, which was in town for the World's Columbian Exposition in 1893. A Young Elizabeth Taylor, 1953. Spanish National Custom, Spain, Pamplona, 1965. This is Catherine McHale Slaughterback, otherwise known as Rattlesnake Kate. She fought off 140 rattlesnakes in 1925 using just 3 bullets and a no-hunting sign. A model in a sable bikini presents a Lada car at the New York Auto Show 1973. The picture shows Hitler smiling after hearing about France's surrender June 17, 1940. Pig sculpture at May Day Parade in Russia, 1930s. Jamie Lee Curtis in 1980. Hillary Clinton brought humanitarian aid to the Republic of Belarus in 1994. Unemployed men sit outside their makeshift homes in Lower Manhattan, 1935. Farmer looks as dog walks on treadmill for health experiment for Cornell University. November of 1956. Kodachrome shot. In 1930, archaeologists discovered the statue of Ramses II at the Temple of Mut in the Karnak temple complex in Egypt. Tokyo Punks in 1980. Aftermath of a bombing on September 16, 1920, at Wall Street and Broad Street in New York City that injures hundreds. Miss Pittsburgh Henriette Lever, 19, wears her crown and holds her trophy after winning the 1935 Miss American title at the Miss America pageant in Atlantic City, New Jersey, September 8, 1935. The man known as the Chinese dwarf was 71 centimeters tall and weighed 18 kilograms. Jennifer Aniston and Matthew Perry eat watermelon. Two-headed man unidentified American artist circa 1855. Damage to the British battleship HMS King George V after a collision with the destroyer HMS Punjabi in thick fog on 1 May 1942. The oil tanker Amoco Cadiz ran aground off the coast of Brittany, France on March 16, 1978. This led to the world's worst environmental disaster. Rush Hour, Bucharest, Romania, 1982. Football referee Joey Shackelford, height 1.46 metres, warns player Clive Goddard, height 2.06 metres, England, 1980. Charles Blondin is carrying his manager, Harry Colcord, across Niagara Falls on a tightrope. Charles Blondin was the first person to cross Niagara Falls on a tightrope on June 30th, 1859. One many displays designed to brief youngsters on the fundamentals of atomic energy. This one demonstrates relative weight. Atomsville was the AEC's exhibit for children at the World's Fair Hall of Science Pavilion. New York City, 1964. Nearly 129,000 people, a surging sea of humanity as the title on this stereograph print describes it, filled the grounds on the opening day of the World's Columbian Exposition, the most famous World's Fair in America in 1893. 1985, Philadelphia witnessed one of the most shocking police actions in American history. A standoff with a radical group known as MOVE escalated into a full-scale assault that ended with a bomb being dropped on a residential neighborhood. A potential customer examines an advertisement for an illegal drinking den or speakeasy during United States prohibition in the 1920s. Claudia Cardinale, 1962. Blueberry Queen, 1955. Street advertising structure with a perpetual motion machine, 1912, United States. Heather Graham, 1989. A young woman from Arizona writing her Navy boyfriend a thank you note for the Japanese skull he sent her, May 22nd, 1944. Stepping out in new shoes, circa 1940s. Raquel Welch on the set of The Biggest Bundle of Them All, 1968. Amy Winehouse and brother Alex, circa 1991. Self-portraits from her notebook. AIDS rights supporters and the religious right clash on the streets of California, Orange County, California, June 20th, 1989. Kiss of Death, photographer Bruno Casinotti, 1988. "11-year-old Jimmy McKinn was abducted in early September 1885 by Geronimo. When the Indians were briefly captured in March 1886, Jimmy bitterly resisted being returned to his family wanting to stay among the Apache. 1865 portrait of Brigham Young, second president of the Church of Latter-day Saints, founder of Salt Lake City and the first governor of Utah. Young had 57 children with 56 different wives. Mata Hari, also known as Margarita Zell, exotic dancer, mistress and French spy. Paris, France, 1905. Debbie Harry, 1976. Actress Sophia Loren at her home in Rome, Italy, 1955. Nazaré, Extremadura, Portugal, 1976. Physics lesson, England, 1991. A Gloucester Gladiator aircraft sits in an F-19 shelter of the Swedish Volunteer Corps in Finland, 1940s. An elephant from the Barnes Circus walks down Atlantic Street in Brooklyn, 1891. Marilyn Monroe and Elvis Presley. John F. Kennedy and John F. Kennedy Jr. at the White House, 1962. Treetop Hotel, Isiolo, Kenya, 1964. Wildlife overlooking hotel for observing animals in their natural habitat. New York City, New York Statue of Liberty toes and base of torch on the ground preparatory to being hoisted into position onto the pedestal on Bedloe's Island. Photographed circa 1885. Ornella Muti, Kansas State. On May 24, 1999, Englishman John Evans entered the Guinness Book of Records as the champion for holding the heaviest weight on his head. It was a car weighing 159.6 kilos, which he held for 33 seconds, without hands, balancing the machine like a plate. Virginia Oldoini, Countess of Castiglione, better known as La Castiglione, Italian aristocrat who achieved notoriety as a mistress of Emperor Napoleon III of France, circa 1865. 3 Republican militiawomen, probably Barcelona, August 1936, Spanish Civil War. Child seat on a bicycle, Amsterdam, Netherlands, 1925. Melissa Joan Hart and her sister Emily Hart, 1999. Military air traffic controllers are trained in an airfield simulator. United States, 1940s. Soviet leaders carrying the urn of Russian Soviet writer Maxim Gorky during his funeral in Moscow, June 1936. During World War I, the Belgian military used dogs to transport cannons. Bear's Belly, an Arikara warrior photographed by Edward S. Curtis in North Dakota, United States, 1909. Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy hanging out in 1987. George Harrison and Patty Boyd in 1964. Marine Lance Corporal Roland Ball starts the day off with a shave at the Khe Sanh base in Vietnam, which was surrounded by North Vietnamese regulars. Ball uses a helmet as a sink and a rearview mirror taken from a military vehicle, 1968. Detroit Riot, 1967. Soul Brother written on the windows of an African-American-owned business. The first employees of the Coca-Cola Company in Atlanta, 1892. A Mongolian woman reaches out from the porthole of a crate in which she's imprisoned, circa July 1913. Note the swastika on the corner next to the lock. Brigitte Nielsen, 1977.